Post game podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster, and we are talking NBA draft prospects as far as our featured player of the week. And without further ado, I'll let B Foster do his thing on this next prospect.
All right, we got Dalton Knecht out of Tennessee. He's a 6'6", 204-pound scoring wing. He's 23 years old. He started his college career at the JUCO level at Northern Colorado and would eventually transfer to Tennessee. In his final year, he scored 21 points. He had about 5 rebounds and 1 assist. He shot 43% from 3 in spot-up situations, 46% overall field goal percentage, and 39% from 3 in all, as far as all 3-point shooters shots are concerned. He's a scoring wing that can fill it up from all 3 levels, and he can hold his own defensively. He can thrive on both ends of the pick and roll. So whether he's the primary ball handler or if he's actually setting the screen, and he's not a elite great defender, but he does have a good motor. That's one thing that was never in question. As far as his weakness, as I said, defense will be his weakness. He's already 23 years old and could be a liability against the elite talent in space. He's also not a great playmaker, but he's serviceable in that role. And he can be trigger happy on threes in transition situations, despite the fact that he does have the ability to get to the rim. He's a guy that's still projected to be a mid-first round pick. And he's a guy that's going to need to be surrounded by defenders. He's going to play a good role as an outside shooter, and he can space the floor. More than likely, when he maxes out, it'll probably be in a bench role, off the bench as a scorer. But overall, he had a solid college career. He had good production his final year, and he's a guy that doesn't have much of a high ceiling. He's kind of a finished product. Obviously, he's already 23 years old, so he is what he is. But in the right role, he will be able to thrive. Like I said, in specific situations, off ball, and being surrounded by some guys that can defend their position well. As far as how he would fit next to Cade, as far as how he would fit in Detroit, he definitely would be an efficient shooter from the outside, and defensively, I think is where the fit isn't the best, because we really don't have a lot of elite defenders. Obviously, coming off the bench, it's a little bit of a different, it's a little different when you talk about coming off the bench. But as far as a starter, wing wise, we need a guy that can defend. So he wouldn't be the best option there. But as far as being able to spread the floor and score off the bench, I think he's a solid. That's a solid selection as far as he's concerned. Unfortunately, we'll be picking in the lottery, so I think he's a little bit. He'd be a little bit premature wherever we're picking. Hopefully, somewhere in the top 5. But solid player, good outside shooting, which we do need, but not at the top of my list, given what we need.
Got too many wings. We got more wings than Wingstop right now.
Do we? Do we have a bunch of wings outside of Asar? Who else we got? Grimes, I guess.
Grimes, Fantecchio.
Yeah. He's kind of a Fontecchio guy. Yeah. Good point.
So, I don't know, man. At this point,
Need talent.
Pistons need talent, man. So
Yeah.
we're really not at liberty to say, hey, we don't, we can't use that position or this position. I mean, unless you're like, I think you don't take a center because you have Duran and you have, I don't want to say the other guy's name, but anyway, you have another 7-footer there, and you just, I don't know. That's the only thing I would avoid a center at this point, but it looks like a good prospect here. I mean, you at this time you just need scores and you need ball players, man. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
whether it's a wing or not. So, wow. Ah, boy, this is rough. This is grueling.
It's really tough to say what we don't need.
Yeah, I mean, we need everything. So at this point, check me and Foster out. Subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. Also, for your audio feed needs, me and Foster have shows, and you can check us out on all podcast streaming platforms, places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any place that has your podcast audio feeds. Type in Post Game Podcast in the search, Post Game Podcast FFSN in the search, and check us out. Follow us, download the episodes.